Ordinary people choose to make extraordinary decisions. They choose to grab their superpower, own their superpower, share their superpower, and then they become superheroes.
What is the biggest barrier that you see in people that they are carrying? The biggest barrier that people have with creating the life that they really want? What do you see in people? What do you think that big barrier is?
I'll start with the statement, personal permission. So I'm going to start with that statement. And then I'm going to follow it with holding themselves hostage to an old conversation and an old awareness and a familiar discomfort. So much so that it feels impossible to replace a familiar discomfort with an unfamiliar new possibility. Now, I'll give you some context to that. When we're sitting inside of a familiar discomfort, and by the way, discomfort isn't just from lack, discomfort isn't just from fear. A discomfort could be, I know I've outgrown this place. Though you might be impressed with me, though I might have accolades and BAs and AAs and MBAs and PhDs or whatever I have, I've outgrown this season. What I see most, I work a lot with leadership, women in leadership, men in leadership. And while leadership is beautiful, they've outgrown their current leadership and they've been there for a while. But the reason why they haven't moved is because they're more committed to a familiar, keyword is familiar, Shawn, familiar discomfort, which discomfort could also be you're ready to grow and you're not, than they are to an unfamiliar, keyword is unfamiliar, new possibility. Because one is familiar, even though I don't really care for it anymore. The other is unfamiliar, and the unfamiliar, unknown, uncharted turf makes me hesitate. That's the number one reason that I see is we want everything to be familiar. We want evidence before we go. We want you to predict the future that I'm for sure going to make it before I take a step. And you can't do that in new possibility. You can project, you can strategize, you can action plan, you can get teamed up. And then you, at some level, you got to take the jump at the possibility that you'll fly or at the possibility that you'll fall. But most people want to ensure the fly so much that they never jump.
Oh my goodness. So you just said something really powerful, which is we want to bring this Miss Cleo vibe to it, to be able to, I can see the future. I see what's going to happen and get that level of certainty before we act. And truly, and you know this, you've been around some of the most successful people on planet Earth. And it's really about going into the unknown. That's what the most successful people are doing.
Yes. Being willing to take the risk on you. Being willing to take the risk on it. Being willing to recognize that there is a chance, ... We're trying to control the outcome and take away the chance. There is a chance, ... And so most of us want to be insured. That's why entrepreneurs for 25 years ago, a lot of us were considered crazy because there was no trapeze net. Like you're flying with your family in the air. You probably heard it. You want to do these things and there's no net. Well, here's the reality. Can you trust your fly or can you trust your get up? Now, that's the thing, is that most people think when they fall, there's no get up. The difference between me and most, and I'm not perfect, I'm still in this journey, is that I trust my get up. I won't always say I'm a fly because Lord knows my failures these days are 6 figures, 7 figures, and require an attorney. And I still, and they're big. And when I've been paying for the same poor decision for 5 years. I've been paying for it. Like my attorney told me it was going to cost me $300,000 to $500,000 to fix it. We're at 1.7 million. And so you still fall. But if you're willing to trust your get up, and most people are still wondering if they're get up, or the other part, Shawn, is they're trying to protect the fall because they still want to prove to someone that they won't fall. So if you're in the proving, protecting, defending, or hiding business, proving, protecting, defending, or hiding business, you're going to hold yourself back all the time because you don't want to show up as anything other than perfect.
We got to talk about those right there.
Prove, protect, defend, or hide.
Okay, so the proving, a lot of us, of course, and this can be rooted in our childhood. You know, we're trying to prove to our, you know, our parent. We are trying to prove to our friends. You know, so I definitely see that one. But I want to talk more about the rest of those too, because those just hit my spirit.
Yes. Prove, protect, hide, or defend. So most of us grow into that naturally. We don't even know that we naturally kind of graduate into it, and you have to take yourself out of it with intention. It's not a normal conscious thing to not have prove, protect, defend, or hide inside your space. So society sets us up to compete. Society sets us up to compare. Society sets us up unless you choose to opt out. I opt out. So when you talk about protecting, you're protecting your perception of how the world needs to see you. When you're proving that you're smart enough, good enough, wise enough. When you're hiding, most people are constantly hiding their insecurities. You're hiding your need. If you think your need is making you seem more vulnerable, you're hiding your vulnerability. That's why when you meet people, it's very difficult for them to open up and share immediately. That's why our tribe is so delicious, because we've learned how to open up and give me your real you faster, sooner, quicker, faster, right? But most people need to warm up for weeks and months because they're still hiding anything that they think may cause you to lose respect for them or not like them as much or not appreciate. And these are unconscious hides, just so you know. People don't consciously do this, right? So prove, protect, hide, or defend. A lot of us are defending an old limiting belief we had about ourselves or about someone else had about us. We're defending it in who we're being now. So I have a friend who, when he was little, his mother told him that don't wear white shirts because you get too dirty. Don't wear white shirts, you get too dirty. And as an adult, he says, I have 160 white shirts, still defending the fact that I get to wear a white shirt. Like, we operate as adults, still defending or proving, protecting or hiding, even stuff that we've outgrown years ago. Yeah. And that comes from the place of needing to be enough, needing to be accepted. I had someone the other day, my assistant reached out to her and was confirming something. And her response to, my assistant called her by her first name. We do first names in my company. And this woman's response to my assistant was, please address me as Miss such and such. And if I wanted to talk to Lisa's assistant, I would have asked to talk to Lisa's assistant. I prefer to talk to Lisa. My assistant, her feelings were hurt. What I took her to was, before you live in hurt, what is it that she needs? And she said confirmation and validation. I said, so what could be the lack? She lacks being seen and being appreciated and being valued. I said, so let's give her what she needs. So my immediate response to her an email was, if my assistant reaching out to you in any form made you feel dismissed, I apologize. Wasn't my agenda. In order for you to get put on my calendar, it must go through my assistant because she manages my calendar. And so the first thing I did was gave her need to be validated. So when you, so the needs don't come up straight. Like, I mean, it's not a needy portrayed need. It flexes in ego. It flexes in she-go. It comes out in being a super sister soldier. It comes out in being a dynamic, strong brother. It comes out in saying, I don't need help. Because you're still proving that you're good enough by yourself. Or you're still defending or protecting your fear of being abandoned. Do you know that a lot of people who say they don't need help, I don't want anyone, I can do it on my own, they're protecting their fear of being abandoned. Now, it doesn't come up that way. It comes up as strong, by myself, long ranger, solopreneur, right? Do it with myself, by myself. But really, underneath all of those contracting behaviors, every single contracting behavior is sourced with either need to prove, protect, defend, or hide.
Ah, this is so good, so powerful. These four, and I want to share this because you said something a little bit earlier about, being a rogue idea. 25 years ago, if you're an entrepreneur, you're just like, they're out here, they're just, taking risks, they're wilding out, they need a safe job because
Responsible.
be responsible. And so for me, this was 20 years ago now. It was knocking on the door 20 years. And I remember, I was in college at the time and I had this big revelation. My health had transformed. I was feeling good. Now people at my university were attracted to me and they're asking me for help. So like my professors, fellow students, and they start becoming my clients, so I became a strength and conditioning coach. And when I met this girl, so I was, quote, I was dating this girl. And when she met me, I had a job, sometimes just over broke, but I had this job. I was working at the arena there in our city. And also, of course, I was a college student. So it checked her boxes. And so when I told her, she was asking like, so how's work going? I'm like, well, actually, I stopped doing that and I'm really focused on working in the gym. And she was like, oh, so you have a hobby? And I was like, what? No, like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so what it was for me, and these four things, prove, protect, hiding, defending, none of those came up for me. And I could see that how they could have been there. But this is what I want to ask you about. What energy do we need to shift to? So for me, it was my excitement. It was my passion. It was my wanting to serve other people. Those were the energies that, like, it actually made it so that even her statement today, it was funny. Even then, it was funny. It was like, oh, you don't know.
Right.
So what energy do we shift to?
So it is the energy of excitement, the energy of certainty, that you can have certainty even while you're developing the plan. I'm not asking for certainty on the plan. I'm developing that. I have certainty on the outcome.
Yes.
So that energy of certainty is contagious. I remember I was doing an investor meeting early on. Now, mind you, my first company, 23 years ago, I measure by the age of my child. He was 3 years old when I started. He's 26 now. 23 years ago, I was raising capital for my company. Mind you, I'm raising money for motivating the teen spirit, teaching teens how to fall madly in love with themselves and how to make integrity-based decisions. So I'm raising money to sell an intangible called personal development to a body of people, teenagers between the age of 12 and 25, that we don't even know if they want to use the service, right? Think about it. So it was all uphill. And oh, by the way, I had no experience doing this. I just had a lot of passion, and I didn't have a degree that said it increased my credibility. Uphill battle, but I'm on fire, and I'm out there, and I have my shtick. And I got to tell you, I can remember my shtick today, Shawn. Hi, my name is Nichols. I'm the founder and creator of Motivating the Teen Spirit. We will teach teens how to fall madly in love with themselves and how to make integrity-based decisions. We're creating a training and development company that will transform teen lives one teen at a time. We will be to the teen community what McDonald's is to the burger community. Who do you know that wants to be a part of this? I just had my little thing, right? And so I was on fire. And the more I stepped into doing the work with teens, the more I was sold out on the work I could do with teens. So you got to be sold out. And when I say a spirit and an energy of sold out, which means I'm inviting you to jump on board. The train has already left the station. I'm not asking you to push the train. I'm inviting you to jump on the train. I'm stopping by to say, all aboard. And the train's going to leave with you or without you. So you can choose. When you have that energy without saying that, you don't have to say the train's going to leave with you or without you. That's all in context. That's all in movement. I remember I was doing an investor meeting. Now, mind you, Shawn, everything was stacked against me. Everything was stacked against me. I was young. I'm like 33 at the time. Jelani's like 3 years old at the time. I have no social proof evidence of what I'm going to do. But I am working with teens a little bit. I only been working with teens like 2 years at the time, and I'm doing my shtick. And this engineer, I'll never forget his name. I never forget him. And he and his wife, he said, Miss Nichols, my wife and I don't have children. We consciously decided not to have children. We don't even know if we like children. I kid you not. He said these words. He said, but you are so on fire and you're so sold out on what you're doing. I feel like it's our fiscal responsibility to be a part of what you're doing. And he invested $25,000 in my company. And so when you talk about that energy, it's that energy of certainty. And so much so, Shawn, that you can say, we haven't figured out the entire path yet. We're still developing our marketing plan. You can even speak to what you're in progress doing. And so that energy of you didn't know, you didn't know, like an energy of certainty versus an energy of wonder. It's contagious and done in an authentic way, not in a way where you're trying to sell someone a shtick, not in a way where you're inauthentic, but in a way where you feel it in your cells. When I was in The Secret, I didn't even know this part of The Secret would become so famous when I said, I know, like I know, like I know. That just got a millions and millions of views that people would just cut that out and replay that. I didn't know it was going to do that. I was speaking of myself. I was speaking of what got me there. I know, like I know, like I know, even without the physical evidence. Then I go back because what I do is I see the outcome with clear detail. I outline the outcome. I outline the deliverables. I outline the results. I outline what people are saying. I outline how they feel. I outline how their life is different. And then I say, well, that's the outcome that I'm going to create. I reverse engineer everything I have to do to get myself there. But I begin with the end in mind and I hold on to the end at all costs.
You know what? This is powerful. We gotta dive in deeper here because you just mentioned, so a lot of folks know you, obviously millions of people from seeing you in The Secret. And this is a film that's really focuses on the law of attraction. Yeah. But for some folks that can sound a little bit unrealistic. But what you just said was, you got to dive in deeper on this. Your level, it's not just I think of this thing and it happens. Your level of specificity is remarkable, what you just talked about. So can you make this law make sense for people?
Absolutely. I would love it. I went on tour for the next 5 years talking about how to make the law of attraction really work in your life. Because so many people said, oh, I could just sit on the couch and dream about it. I said, no, you're just going to have a big butt dent. That's literally what I said on stage for the next 5 years. Like, if you just sit and believe and you focus on the mailbox and a check coming, you better do something to make someone want to pay you. Like that, don't forget that part. And so I said, The Secret was 51 minutes of mindset. If we had another 2.5 hours, we would have told you what you have to do when you get up, right? So when you think about something, number one, I do guided visualizations. And I didn't grow up, I grew up Baptist. I didn't grow up doing guided visualizations. I grew up praying, right? But as I grew, I always say your mindset and your culture and your religious background or your spiritual origin is one lane. What the reason why our differences are so important, Shawn, because your one lane called Shawn Stevenson, your one lane called Lisa Nichols, your one lane meets someone else's one lane. Who's white or who's Asian, who's Buddhist, or who's, they say mother God versus father God. And then you meet someone else's one lane. And your one lane plus their one lane makes a super highway. That was a big learning for me because I grew up with my one lane, Baptist, Christian, Black, and I wanted to understand the superhighway. And so inside the conversation of a superhighway, I learned guided visualizations. Guided visualizations were synonymous in my world to prayer, but it's different. So guided visualization, and then I put extras on it, because I'm extra and I like that extra texture. And if it moves me, I believe it can move anybody. That's my mindset. So I want to know, can I be moved by it? And so guided visualization begins with the end in mind. And it not only begins with the end in mind, but it has great texture to the end. And if I could take you on just a quick journey, I talk about being on a freeway. And on your way, let's say if I'm taking you on this guided visualization and you're on a highway and you're on your way to this keynote. And at this keynote, you are to speak and you're prepared yourself to speak. You stop by your home and your wildest dreams have come true, Shawn. And matter of fact, you've surpassed them. So the dream you have for your life, the house, the car, the bank account balance, see it in detail and then double what it looks like because you surpassed your dreams. So when you stop by your home, the gates automatically open. And you drive your weekend car a half a mile up to your front door. And you stand at your front door and the double doors open 12 feet, 14 feet tall each side. And you step into Travertine floors and you step into a spiral staircase. And you didn't even have this in your mind when you were visualizing the home. You smell the lavender. You smell the rosemary. You smell that fragrance of fresh cut flowers as well. You hear laughter in the background and you hear some really amazing neo soul playing or some jazz playing. And you hear a lot of laughter and you recognize the laughter and you say, oh my God, that's layers and layers and layers of people. That's like 5, 6, 7, 9, 12, 13 people. You walk into the massive kitchen, center island, everyone's standing around the island. It's your family. It's people that you've seen recently and people that you haven't seen for a long time. And all of a sudden, everyone moves around the table and the people begin to pray and they all are thanking you for creating this lifestyle for them. They're thanking you for creating this space that they can come to. It's out of their wildest dreams. And they thank you and you realize in the middle of them thanking you, you have to go. And you say, stay as long as you want. Enjoy dinner. I'll be back later on. And if you feel like it, if you drink a little too much or you get too excited or you get too sleepy, stay the night. We have more than enough rooms for everyone. And you feel good that there's space for your entire family, No one has to put out an air mattress. You leave out and you get into your weekend car. So it probably has a top down because it's your fun car. And you get on the highway and you get back on the road and you begin to drive and you're on your way to this keynote and you get stuck in a traffic jam. You start freaking out a little bit, feel yourself getting a little agitated the way you get in traffic. And all of a sudden you say, oh my God, I'm going to be late. Oh my God, I'm going to be late. You finally arrive to the event and yes, you're about 10 minutes late. You go inside, you're apologetic. They say, no worry, Mr. Stevenson, no worry. No worries. We're happy that you're here. You walk out on stage. You weren't quite sure how many people were going to be here, but you walk out on stage and you're shocked when you see over 10,000 people in this stadium. This wasn't a little speaking event. This was a mega event. You walk up to the podium. That's your feet walking. You put your paper down and you get ready to step into your speech. And you say, you open up with what you open up with because you're so humble. Thank you. And before you can say another word, Shawn, someone yells from the back, no, thank you. And then another person says, thank you. And person 997, thank you. Person 556, thank you. Person in seat number 5,898 way in the back, thank you. And then as if a tidal wave of thank yous, all you hear is thank you, thank you, thank you. And you're processing it. Thank you for the late nights. Thank you for the early mornings. Thank you for stretching the dollar so it can go further, so you can make one more podcast so it can touch me. Thank you. Thank you for being scared until you weren't scared anymore. Thank you for being a unicorn and strange until you weren't strange anymore. Thank you for doing it alone until the team showed up. Thank you, thank you. You stand there. There's no space for you to speak because everyone is saying thank you. They're waiting their turn. 15 minutes later, you haven't said a word. And finally, you get it. 25 minutes later, as the whole room is saying thank you, you didn't come to speak. You came to hear them speak to you. And you tell them, we're going to be here all night, but I'm going to close every door and leave one door open. And I'm going to hug each one of you. Because this is when it's all safe to hug everybody, thank God. And you hug each person. And as you hug the 20-year-old girl, she says, thank you for letting me know I can dream again. And as you hug the 45-year-old man, he says, thank you, brother, for letting me know that it's not too late. And as you hug the 68-year-old woman, she says, oh, thank you for reminding me that it ain't over till it's over. And as you hug the 19-year-old, he says, thank you for letting me know I can do it at my own pace, at my own flavor, in my own time. Every single person thanks you for their unique journey. And when the last person has hugged you, go back home. Your home is sleep. Everyone's resting. And as you close the door, you look around at your beautiful home. And he says, you're welcome. You're all welcome. We all have a right to have a dream. And we have a bigger right to watch that dream become our reality. I began to do guided visualizations like that, where I could see it. You could see the traffic jam. You could see the people. You can smell the lavender. You can see the taverntine floors. You can see the people. You can see the person in seat 568. I began to visualize Shawn in such a way like it feels right now. The hair on the back of my neck standing up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and you can feel it. It's not enough to see it. Now, a lot of people visualize so you see it. I wanted to feel it. I wanted to feel it because when you feel it, you're going to chase that familiar feeling. That's the feeling we have when we're in love. You feel love either as a child or as a young adult, to a parent, a sibling, a friend, a romance. And we spend a lifetime trying to chase that utopia again. Now, what you have with your wife, that thing, you want to keep that thing. You want to keep rekindling it because your body has a familiar feeling that your mind says, no. This is my natural substance that I choose to keep in my spirit. That's why with guided visualizations, you want to have it. So when it came to The Secret, I was real big on visualize it, see it in detail, but go a step beyond, feel it. And now get up and go get it. Yeah. Do everything you need to do. Move the mountain. Tell the mountain to move over, bow down, or go through it. Get the team members. Release the team members if necessary. Stand tall, stand strong. Ask questions. Be brilliant and be curious. Know everything about some things and be willing to know nothing about the next thing. Whatever you need to do. Make extra money so you can invest it in yourself after you visualize. So to me, I start at the end of The Secret. Right? But first, you got to be willing to visualize it. So those 51 minutes in The Secret, Shawn, you needed that. Because without the visualization, you don't even know where you're going. So visualize it, own it, feel the excitement, feel the joy. Now, part 2 of The Secret, had we done that, was get up and become full court press. Put your wands on and start jumping to your dream. And know that when you jump, you might fall, and be willing to bounce back. Say no matter what.
No matter what, let's go.
Let's go.
Woo. Listen.
And when you do that, I just got to say this. When you do that, you don't say, I wonder, I wish. You say, no matter what, you're giving the universe notice. You're giving your goals notice. I'm coming for you. I'm coming. Get ready. So you don't walk into them with uncertainty, hope, and wonder. I hope I can make it. Whenever someone says, I hope I'm going to make it, I say, well, I hope too. Get a wishbone. I need you to get a plan and a strategy to put some more certainty in that energy. And it might not work, but I failed with my best plan, which meant I failed forward. I'm going to pull my lessons out, and I'm going to pack those lessons up in my backpack, and then I'm going to keep going again because I said no matter what. I'm sorry. Yes. I get excited. I get excited.
I love it. I love it. Listen, this is when first of all, no matter what. This context, I'm so shocked at how few people carry that whatever it takes mentality, and this is one of those things. So first and foremost, we start with this level of visualization. Number one, what that does, and I just seen the connective tissue here, that creates a level of certainty that we're then bringing out on the road with us. Yep. So we've already.
You can taste it.
Yes.
You can taste it. So you're like, I know what it tastes like. I felt it already. I'm just chasing that taste again.
We're bringing this out on the road with us. I love that. I just thought about Pops from Friday. So we take that level of certainty out on the road with us. And then we get into all the stuff that we know about human biology and neuroscience and how your brain is literally filtering out all the things that are irrelevant. And now you're beginning to see, you know, your reticular activating system, your reticular cortex, and also even your hippocampus carrying that memory with you. We're laying down more and more. Myelin is just attuning your brain to see the things that are already there that you might not have been attuned to.
And here's what I love, because you've seen it already. If you should get distracted, you have a visual to go, wait, hold on. This road goes due east. That's not going to get us to what we want due west, because you've seen it already. If you don't have a navigational system in your visualization, a navigational system in your intention, you can end up floundering and going, how did I end up here? And how have I been here for the last 3 years? I talk to people and coach people all the time who said, I just kind of been just living. And normally they live well. So it's not like they're suffering, but they are in a sense denying themselves of the future they said they wanted because they didn't see it clear enough. They didn't paint the picture. They didn't say, I want it to be emerald green. So they ended up with aqua blue. And aqua blue is beautiful, but aqua blue is not the color you were going for. That they end up in leadership, but they end up in leadership in an industry that they didn't want to lead in. So watch out. That visualization and that certainty helps to navigate. And then listen to your intuitive energy when you made a turn that will 2 nauticals east will end you up in the Bermuda versus Bahamas. Like just 2 nauticals, just a couple of yeses too many, or a couple of yeses for the wrong reason, or a couple of no's because you needed more detail. So understanding that and getting that feedback and letting the universe give you feedback when you got to stop, when you need to go, when it's time to release, when it's time to hold on, when you're the leader, when you're the student, listening to that dialogue, listening to that energetic exchange to know when you're what, when you're where, when you need to pause. I remember this gentleman said he wanted to invest $500,000 in my company, but I needed to slow down to speed up. I ended the conversation with him because I didn't want to slow down. 3 years later, I said, now I see what he meant. I needed to slow down back then in order to speed up. He said it. I didn't see it. I didn't slow down. And I went do nauticals to the wrong angle and then had to turn around and slow down and hear. So I needed to, in that moment, be a student and a leader at the same time. I thought I was just leader, right? And so understanding and listening to that intuitive feedback and being willing to go back and go, hold on, let me press reset on that. Hold on. Let me go back and let me reassess. Let me look at where I turned. I know exactly where I turned wrong 3 years ago. Know exactly where that turn was. And I know exactly what it cost me. And I'm okay with that because I'm a sure shot. I'm willing to invest that learning lesson on me. I'm going to come back. No matter what, I'm going to go back in. I'm going to pay the price. I'm going to learn the lesson. I'm going to bring the lesson with me. So I don't fail. You don't fail. Only way you fail is if you get nothing out of it. Then you failed. But if you fail forward, then your next decisions are cumulative of all of your previous lessons. And that's all I say is my next decision is a cumulative of all my previous lessons, good choices and the ones that taught me something.
Yes. I was going to ask you why people are afraid to share their gift, to share their passion, to speak up. And now I'm already seeing some of the seeds of it. And part of it, of course, being the lack of clarity. Number one. So having that level of certainty coming into it is going to eliminate a lot of that fear. But can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I saw that really jumped out at you.
So, I'm very transparent with you. And I'm at the very beginning of writing my next book. And it's probably the most exciting and the most unnerving book that I will write. I don't know the title yet. That's how new it is. You're the first person in public that I'm telling about it. Like this. You always tap a place and you always get stuff out of me that, and you said why people are afraid to share their gift. Is that what you?
Yes.
And the context of this book is about how leaders and gladiators and change agents, how we live in our leadership while we're managing our shadow. How our leadership is a choice. And on some days, what we have to go through to get to leadership will blow your mind, because all you see is who shows up on the camera. All you see is who's on the cover of the book. But you have no idea the 6 blood transfusions I had to get in 3 years to get to that. You have no idea the woman who was physically and emotionally abused and how I had to restore my faith in me, not men, me, right? And so I decided that I wanted to share the dark, the light and the shadow at the same time. Like, what you didn't know when I was on that stage on today's show was that I just So just looking at the oxymorons or the juxtaposed or the dark and light, and how dark and light coexist. Dark does not get to dominate. Light will not always live by itself. That I haven't met a person yet who's only had light in their life. And I haven't met a leader yet who let the dark suck them in and they stayed there and then and didn't come out to lead. There's a choice, and they both coexist. And how do you manage both? And looking at every great person in our life and knowing that every great person has had to manage both, I decided to bring mine out. I haven't done it yet, so I'm claiming that it's going to get to the publisher. And quiet as it's kept, not so quiet. I've been asked to do a movie, the Lisa Nichols story, right? And so that's what caused me to write this book, was the request to do the Lisa Nichols life story. And I said, well, if I'm going to do the Lisa Nichols life story, then I'm going to show you the shadow. I'm going to show you when I was on the floor crying, wailing. I wasn't crying, I was wailing. And my 19-year-old son had to pick me up off the floor and put me in bed. And I begged him to tell me he wanted me to quit this business. And he wouldn't let me off the hook. He said, Mama, you can't quit. You can't. And I begged him so that I can get the opportunity to say I did it for my son, right? But the reality was I was exhausted, I was weary, I was hurt, and I had been betrayed. And I didn't want to give my heart to anyone else, business, friendship, or otherwise. I wanted to just hibernate. And I knew I can hibernate and quietly generate $1 million without saying anything to anybody. I knew I could do that. And I knew that was more than anybody in my family had made. I knew that I could still look impressive, and I could take no risk. I needed an out, and I asked my son for the out, and I was praying he gave me the out, and he didn't give me the out. And so those kind of moments. And in that book, I think, I haven't written it yet because it's still very new to me. The movie producer last week asked, well, why don't you write about your gift? And I promise you, I was like this. What gift? Like, what do you know about my gift? Like, Shawn, I felt so exposed. And he went on to say, I've watched you repeatedly, and you have this ability to see the person behind the person that's showing up, and you speak to them and you pull them forth. I've never heard anyone articulate like that. And I just kind of sat there, and I don't know if you remember that song by Lauryn Hill, where I can't sing a lick, but she said, singing my life with his song, killing me softly with his words. And the lyric says, I feel like you were reading my journal. Like you just opened up my journal, read my journal. And so I begin to think, he said, tell us about your gift in this book. I said, and he said, tell us what your gift has done for you. I said, well, if I'm really going to tell you about my gift, I'd have to tell you how my gift frightened me. And then I'd have to tell you about how my gift frightened me that it would frighten others. And then I'd have to tell you about how I tried to outrun my gift and ignore my gift and minimize my gift. And then I'd have to tell you how I tried to then understand my gift. And then I'd have to tell you about how I prayed to own my gift. And then I could tell you what life felt like standing in my gift. But I can't jump to standing in my gift because that would skip too many stages. And so when you said that, brother, I feel like you're just another earth angel for me, because I've never said that. What I just said to you, I don't say out loud. So if you're You know you have a gift, the gift of listening, the gift of safe space, the gift of oration, the gift of teaching, the gift of art, the gift of singing, the gift of clairvoyance, the gift of prayer, whatever your anointing, whatever your gift is, there's stages to that gift, Shawn. There's stages. And I don't know if everyone tries to outrun it or ignore it first. I don't know, did you? Because you definitely got a gift. Did you ignore it? Did you question it? Do you wonder about it? Because I know I did.
Of course, absolutely.
And I didn't want to be different. I don't want to be different. I don't want one more thing to make me one more different. Please, I'm a unicorn enough. I'm an alien enough. I don't need, and so let's just act like it's not there. And I act like it wasn't there for a long time. And then it didn't fit my family. It didn't fit my culture. When people said, "Oh, you're an empath," I'm like, I don't know what empath is. No, don't, please don't call me. I don't know what that stuff is. I'm a prayer warrior. And I wasn't a prayer warrior. That's not true. But it was the closest thing to it that fit inside my lane. And so the beauty of me learning other people's lane, I still don't call myself anything in particular. I just own the gift. I honor the gift. I don't try to label the gift. I just am responsible with it. I know that I have the ability to help people see the possibility in themselves. I know that I have the gift of allowing people to feel safe and seeing all of themselves, their dark, their light, and their brightness. And if they don't see their brightness, my gift is helping them walk out of the darkness so they can see something. That is my gift. It took a long time for me to own that. It took a long time for me to feel comfortable, listen to this, that I would have it, that you would give that to me, that I'm a steward of that I was given the gift of the responsibility that comes with the gift, and that I'm a good steward. And then the next level, that I deserve to be able to walk with this gift. Ooh, honey, I'm talking like it's 5 minutes. But then this 15 years of right, you know what I mean, brother? You know what I mean.
That's so, you know what, the number one word that jumped up to me when I was thinking about talking with you today, I don't know why, but now I know why, was deserve. Oh. That really jumped out in my spirit just today, knowing I was going to talk to you, you know, because I think that process of feeling like you deserve a thing is an evolution in of itself as well.
Synonymous with I am worthy. Synonymous with I am worthy, right? Followed by I give myself permission. I can tell you the whole chain. I deserve, I am worthy. I give myself permission, right? In spite of my previous choices, I still have the right. I still deserve. So you got to revisit deserve and revisit worthy and revisit permission. It's not a one and done. And that's one of the biggest mistakes people make, Shawn, is that they do the work, they give themselves permission, they grow, they get to another level, they fall, something happens, or the zeros get big enough, and all of a sudden you forget you got to go back to I deserve. You got to go back to I'm worthy. You got to go back to I give myself permission. So everything I gave myself permission for 5 years ago is already done. I'm working this year to give myself permission to have a movie about my life, to write a book, right. Yeah. It's like, okay, hold on. I am worthy. You do all the work again. You do all the work again. When I moved here, I moved to the Bahamas in January of 2020. Do you know that I spent 2 weeks looking at the beach, but I wouldn't go over to the sand? Shawn, I was nervous. I was like, I live here. Okay, that's mine. I had given myself permission to move to the Bahamas, did that. Then I had to give myself permission to live 11 steps from the water and have access to it on it. It was too mind-blowing to me. I had to sit. I didn't go to the beach. I went to my backyard. So I couldn't see the beach, and I went and I collected the evidence that I'm a good steward of an amazing, breathtaking life like this. I collect the evidence that I'm a good steward of an amazing, breathtaking life like this. I'm a good steward of the love that I found. I'm a good steward of him loving me for a lifetime. I'm a good steward to be healthy and fit. I'm a good steward to be the model of transformed health. I'm a good steward. I had to tell myself that I give myself permission to talk about health. You know my very deliciously messy, chaotic health background. With that messy, chaotic, tumultuous health background, I just finished 21 days of Halls of Fitness, the first 21-day challenge I ever led. And oh, by the way, brother, the very first video I looked at of someone talking about fitness to the camera was yours.
Come on.
I'm gonna tell you, you were in the gym with a beautiful tall woman with short black hair, and she was doing a little workout, and you were showing how to. I watched you. I know exactly because I trust you, and I looked at you, and I said, I want to know how to talk about fitness, and I talk about fitness from a place of a woman who found her fitness, not from a fitness expert. And so I touch people in their soul because I say, listen, I was 220 pounds. I was morbidly obese. I had severe sleep apnea, and I had 6 blood transfusions in 3 years. I was a walking hot mess. And I'm not saying it's perfect now, but it's a whole lot better. And so let's move to our greater later together, right? That's my whole conversation about fitness. And so I had to give myself permission to be on that beach and to talk about fitness. And so we're all in levels of permission. We're all in levels of deservingness, levels of worthy. It's a constant evolution. I always say the beauty is you've never arrived. You're still on the journey. I got myself warmed up, y'all. I'm just telling y'all. I get myself all warmed up by this conversation.
This episode should be called Chill Factor because I got the chills so many times. I love it so much.
And can I just say this, in relationships, that's the biggest place where we start compromising what we deserve forward. I was the main person to do it because we've made decisions. We hold ourselves hostage to the decisions we've made. And what you have to remember is you made the decisions you made based on what you knew then. You still deserve breathtaking, lifetime, like everlasting love. Like that's the biggest area that I coach people in, and the biggest area where they compromise their worthiness. They'll make millions, but do I deserve long-lasting, forever kind of love, passionate love? And it's as if we're keeping score versus keeping track.
Come on. Break that down for me, because this is a big part of our lives. I think that this is the number one decision that we make on a practical sense, like in the world out here, is who we choose to spend our time with, specifically who we choose to spend our life with. Yeah. And a lot of folks are looking for that. How do we find that? How do we find that love? How do we find that partner?
Yes. So number one, recognize if you're keeping score or you're keeping track. Keeping score, let me tell you the distinction. Keeping score is collecting evidence on why it won't work in your future. And many people are making decisions about their future, business, relationship, friendship, health and wellness, based on keeping score. They're collecting evidence on why it won't work, why it's hard. I might get hurt. I've tried diets before and they didn't work. So you're collecting evidence on why it won't work. Keeping track, notice this distinction, super important to notice this distinction. Keeping score is collecting evidence on why it won't work. Keeping track is taking notes of what path landed you where. It's just what path landed you where. When I eat at night after 10, I have a harder time losing weight or releasing weight. When I go to sleep after midnight, this is me all the time. I went to bed early last night. I was happy because when I go to bed after midnight, it impacts how I spring into my next day. Now, I used to stay up late at night because it was quiet and my brain could think and I could write. But what I realize is when I keep track of what happens the next day, I need to get in bed earlier and just ask everyone to give me an hour of quiet time at 9 o'clock versus waiting till they're asleep at midnight. That's keeping track. Keeping track is actually looking at where a path has led you in the past. In relationships, if you rush into a relationship because you feel all those endorphins and you feel the exchange, but you notice that you've done that in the past, and then it ended up you didn't have a friendship. A relationship is a friendship expanded. Took me a while to learn that. Like, hello. Like, I don't care how fine they are. I don't care how sexy they are. I don't care how brilliant they are. And I don't even care how ready they are. Keeping track shows me that in order for me to have a great relationship, I have to first have a great friendship. Track only taught me that. Keeping score would say I can't trust them, they're no good, they hurt me. That's keeping score and collecting evidence on why it won't work. And so that's the distinction. And oftentimes, Shawn, most people are collecting evidence and keeping score than they are keeping track.
I want to lean into this just a little bit more. This is important. You're giving the real stuff.
Yeah.
Now, what do we do on a practical level? Because this is your reality now. Right now, you're a fiance. You're in the Bahamas. You got the sun-kissed skin. Hopefully, everybody's checking out the YouTube version of the show as well if you're listening on audio. But you're in fiance vibes right now.
Oh my God. Oh my
Now,
God.
how do we get there? How do we get from, I'm looking for the love of my life to actually manifesting? Or, even if we're in a relationship right now, for example, and we're not happy, how do we get to that place of love?
Yeah. So I'm going to point out, then I'm going to come back. Okay. Make a list of everything you want in that relationship and in that person to embody, whether they're presently with you or not. Don't talk about characteristics. Characteristics are small conscious thinking. I'm gonna tell you right now, he needs to be 6'6", or she needs to be, that's small conscious thinking. Think about the character. Think about the nurture. You probably have your physical preferences. That's fine. That's okay. I want you to think about the lifestyle. I want you to think about the mindset. I want you to think about the spiritual habits. I want you to think about their financial habits. I want you to think about their family commitment. Make a list of all of those things. Now listen to me. Make a list and then become the list. Don't spend another moment thinking about them. You become the list. Because if they are the list and you're not, why should they choose you? I'm sorry, ouch.
That took a turn I wasn't expecting going that direction.
Become the list and be so busy becoming the list that you get this, become the magnet. Like, become the list and be so on fire about becoming the list. And then at some point, I hope you become on fire about becoming the list for you and not for them. And then become the magnet. I got to tell you that my fiance and I met 10 years ago, and I had made my list 12 years ago. And I met him, and he was striking, and he was athletic, and he was charismatic, and he was charming, and he was really shy, really, really shy. And at the time, I was working on myself. And I said, hey, you're a really nice guy, but I'm really working on, I had no idea who was in front of me. I wouldn't know for another 8 years. I'm just working on myself, but we can stay friends. He was like, okay, let's stay friends. My son was in middle school and I'm working on myself. And this was the time I'm getting blood transfusions. I'm getting emergency hysterectomy. And I really needed to clean up my health so that I could want someone in my physical space. I needed to do that work first. Was I lonely at times? Absolutely. Did I want love? Absolutely. But I felt like I and he deserved for me to be much more comfortable with my image of my physicality than I was at that time. And so I got my head down, raising Jelani, building, motivating the masses, and taking care of Lisa Nichols. And my head's down. Now listen to this. I thought he would periodically text me. 8 years later, 2 years ago, I go into my phone and I look at his text strand because he had texted me again. He had been texting me for 8 years. This gentleman texts me every month, once a month for 8 years. Just saying hi. He was under my nose. So when I realized, oh my God, this dude's been texting me, I call him. 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I said, hi, you've texted me for 8 years. He goes, yeah, I have. I said, did you like me? Do you like me? He goes, yeah, I do. I said, well, why didn't you tell me? He said, because I want to give you the time you requested to work on yourself. You said you're working on you, so I just stayed in touch to let you know I was here. And so you have no idea. You have no idea who's waiting for you to be ready for what you want. Are you really ready for what you want? All that greatness, all that grandness, all that abundance. I said I wanted to be on Oprah 10 years before I was on Oprah. Thank God I wasn't on Oprah when I said I wanted to be on Oprah. I wasn't ready. I had to go get ready. I had to go meet the right people and ask for help. So I invite you, I implore you, trust you, develop you, invest in you, and then let the universe know I'm ready. A lot of times when you say you want or you need, it's because we believe we want someone else to complete us. Well, let me be the sister to say, it's no one else's job to complete you. It's your job to complete yourself. And then it's their job to complement your completeness.
Come on.
I'm just saying. I tell my man, I don't want you to complete me. That's my job. But I sure want you to compliment my completeness. I'm just saying.
Oh,
and so
my goodness.
that comes when you begin to pour into you. So if you're looking for love, I'm going to say, can you touch the highest level of self-love? And can you demonstrate that? And then can you love others? I wish I had a cup. Can you learn how to stop loving people from your cup and start learning how to love them from your overflow? Don't love them from your cup, love them from your saucer. Because when you can love them from your saucer, then anyone that comes near you can feel that. Can I tell you, I wish my fiance was home now. When I asked him, what made you choose me? He said, I walked through the door. Get this. I walked through the sliding door of the Pegasus Hotel in Kingston, Jamaica. You were standing in the lobby. He said, and you looked my way while you were laughing, and there was a light that came from you. He said, I passed you because I'm super shy. He's never, ever reached out to talk to a woman himself. In his words, he's paralyzingly shy. This dude is super shy. He said, I walked past you and you looked at me and you kept that smile going. He said, I got all the way around to the elevator. I stood at the elevator and I talked to myself. Marcellus, if you let this moment pass, I think you're going to regret it. There was something in that smile. He said he turned back around and he was so scared to say something to me, but it was the light in my smile. And he doesn't talk much. I mean, he's such a great guy. He's my anchor. But he says that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that for 8 years until we got together and we were really locked and loaded. He goes, something in your smile. And I didn't smile at him. I was smiling at the woman in front of me. And then he caught it because he caught my attention. And I just let him have some of my smile. So who are you sharing your light with? But first, before you share your light, how are you turning your light up? That thing right there. Some of us are dimming our light. You got the shadow. Look, I'll put the shadow over this light. You got the shadow over the light because you don't want to outshine somebody. You got the shadow over the light because the last time you shined your light, you got hurt. You got the shadow over the light because you're still getting used to your own light. When you let your light shine, someone around you who's ready for your light will notice your light and choose to stand in your light with you. That's all I'm gonna say. I know that's not the regular go on harmony.com. And I'm saying if that's your path, no, I love your path. But still, on eHarmony or wherever you're on, you still gotta own your light. Let your light shine, own your light, but turn your light up. Make the list, become the list.
Let's go. I've got a list for you, but I'm gonna keep it short. I cannot let you go without asking you these two things. So number one, what you're talking about right now requires some time and energy to work on yourself, to develop that self-love and self-care. In my clinical practice, that was the number one reason people would give for not taking care of themselves, not exercising, whatever the case might be. I don't have the time. So can you speak to that? What advice can you give for folks who are in that paradigm that they don't have the time and they're seeing that as a challenge from getting from where they are to where they want to be?
I'm going to ask you a question. Now, I'm going to say this in love from a woman who spent 19 years over 210 pounds, 5 years over 220. So I don't say it from a place of judgment. I didn't even know clavicles existed until 5 years ago. I was like, clava who? Clava what? Clava where? That's this little part right here. I heard it's supposed to hold a cup of water and when you're doing good. But anyway, I'm going to ask you this when you say you don't have enough time. I'm going to say, you know, tomorrow you're going to get 24 hours in the day. You know that. You know you're not going to get 23. You know you won't get 25. So my question to you, sister, my question to you, brother, is when will you love you enough to give yourself just one of the 24? You don't run out of time. You simply allocated all your time to someone that you put in front of you. I'm going to follow it with this statement. I say it in love. You will always, as a leader, as a game changer, as a gladiator, you will always have a long line of people waiting to be served by you. You will always. People will knock down your door to get in your line. Here is my question. When will you put yourself at the front of your own line? And I say that because it took a doctor telling me. I was in Utah. My doctor called me on Zoom and said, you are morbidly obese, you're over 220 pounds, you have severe sleep apnea, and you travel over 258 days out the year. And when other people go to work to sit down to work, you go to work and get on stage and push out the little energy that you have from your sleep-deprived body. Lisa, it's not a matter of if you're going to have a heart attack. It's a matter of when will you have it and where will you be. The doctor went on to say, will you be on stage in front of your audience? Will you be in the air on a plane? Will you be at home in front of your son, Jelani? Or will you be in a hotel room by yourself? I thought she was cruel. I thought she was cruel to make me have that kind of fear. And then she followed it with this. She said, the only reason why I'm saying this to you this way is because I've sat in your audience and I've experienced your gift. And I need to disrupt you enough to be radical. And so I'm not disrupting you or poking you for the sake of doing it. It's because someone is ready to be blessed by your gift. Someone is ready to be touched by your soul. Someone's ready. And until you handle the self-care, until you prioritize you, until you move to the front of your own line the way I had to do, you won't be able to give the world all of you that you know you're to do. And my grandmother just transitioned. And my grandmother would say, baby, when you get my age, she was 92 years and 9 months when she transitioned, laid down to rest in peace. And she's resting in peace because she played full out. She said, baby, when you get my age, you're supposed to sit in your favorite rocking chair. And I bought Granny a good rocking chair, y'all. And you're supposed to share the stories of your life. She said, but baby, when you're your age, you're supposed to do one thing. Do everything in your power to make sure that the story is going to be good to share. You are protecting your future memories of yourself. Me being radical about my health, you getting radical about your health, you becoming non-negotiable about your health is about protecting your future memories about yourself. That when you sit in that rocking chair, you want to look back and say, I played full out for me first, and then I served everybody else from my overflow. That's your job. That every day, that's your job. Every day, that's your job. And allow us to witness and be the beneficiaries of you playing full out. Sorry, I get passionate. You talking my subject.
Lisa, you've given us so much today, and your company is called Motivating the Masses. My last question that I have for you today is what's motivating you right now? You give so much for us. You motivate us. What's motivating you right now?
Oh, I just got emotional when you said that. I have no tissue in my office. I interviewed my grandmother a year before she died. And I said, Grandma, what would you do differently? And she thought about it. And it was like she was having this mental checklist in her head. Nothing, baby. I like it all. Some of it was hard, but I like it all. I want to be able to say that. I want to be able to, I want to live and say I played full out. I was responsible with the calling on my life, Shawn. I want to say that. I want to look back, and I want to selfishly. My first is self. I'm not going to say my first desire is I want to serve the world. No, I want to protect my memories. I'm not even trying to build a legacy. I don't need a monument in my name or a street in my name. And I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for job well done, my child. I gave you much. I gave you much. And you turned around and you gave me all that was expected. To whom much is given, much is required. I gave you much. Shawn, my light would scare me. My ability to attract people in Kazakhstan and in Swaziland and in South Africa and in Ireland has blown my mind. And with that, I want to be greatly responsible. And all the time I have to stop my knees from shaking and stop my teeth from chattering to keep playing full out. I keep doing it. And people think, Lisa, how do you overcome the fear? I said, you boldly assumed that I overcame the fear before I took the leap. Sometimes I just leap with the fear because I'm more committed to the leap than I am to the fear. And what motivates me is the desire, truly the desire to sit down and say I gave my all. And I'm a basketball fan. I feel like when LeBron James, I'm a Laker fan. When LeBron James retires, and when I watch his career, I go, I think he's going to be able to say I gave it my all. Like I just look at him and go, nah, there's probably no guilt in that retirement. I want that. I want that for my life. My son said, he's been married 2 years. He said, Mom, I think I'm gonna wait till I'm 28 to have a child. I said, oh, good. Why? He said, because you did. And I like the way your life turned out. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's what I want. I want my life to be a demonstration and an inspiration to others. Not that you can do it all right, but that you can do it all again and again and again and again, working to get it right. And that you can build a breathtaking life experience working to get it right. And that imperfect people have beautiful experiences. Yes. And that leadership is beautiful, but obedience is better. Like I want my life to mean a bunch of statements. Even if you don't remember my name, Shawn, you don't have to remember my name. Just let it remember a bunch of statements. Like no matter what, this woman lived, I don't know her name, but dang, she always said no matter what, whatever it takes, and non-negotiable. I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of that. Like that's what motivates me, the ability to be infectious, the ability to infect a mindset, and the ability to get it wrong and still be okay. The ability to live in my imperfection and still be a perfect contribution. Like I love that. The ability to learn every day how to be a better version of myself. Jeez. The ability to get it all wrong today and I still get it. And you gonna let me get up tomorrow, God willing? You let me get up tomorrow. I promise you I'm gonna use what I got wrong yesterday. Like that motivates me. Like I'm a culmination of my yesterdays. I'm a culmination of my years past. I'm a culmination of every person who's touched me. I bring you with me, Shawn. I bring you with me. I like that. I'm an eclectic piece of work. People say, who's your mentor? I say, oh, I'm a mutt. I'm a collection of all kind of great people. I'm an eclectic piece of work. I'm not made of one. I'm made of many. I like that. That motivates me. And then I feel like there's a responsibility when someone pours into me, Shawn, nothing is for me to keep to myself. Dare I? Anyway, you know me, you get me going. And at the end of the day, y'all, at the end of the day, for me, I'm not imposing my belief system on you, but for me, marketplace ministry. That's all. I want to touch the people, be with the people, walk, talk with the people, learn from the people, and teach the people, whatever my journey is. For me, I want to leave here and say, I gave it my all. I didn't leave nothing on the table. I cleared it all off. It's empty. I'm done. When I lay down, I want to say, whoo, there's nothing else left me to do but rest in peace. Because if you don't play full out and you don't give it your all and you keep holding back, you can't guarantee you're going to rest in peace. You might rest, but I don't want to rest wondering what could I've done with the other 70% that I held on to, waiting for the right moment. No. What motivates me is the opportunity to look back and say, I gave that my all. I loved hard. I played hard. I ran hard. I paid for it hard. I paid a lot. In time. So I'm just saying, I'm gonna stop.
Listen, you have given us so much today. I'm so grateful for you. I can't even put into words. My cheeks literally hurt. I'm smiling so big.
I love you.
I appreciate you so much. Can you let everybody know where they can connect with you more, to get more Lisa Nichols, to give some more insight? You give so much, not just in this moment, but you just continue to give and to remind us of how powerful we are.
Yeah. So first, thank you. Thank you, brother, for being the truth. You are the truth. You are a delicious serving of the truth. And I love the energy that you pull out of me. I love the magnificence that we get to co-create because we're on the planet at the same time. I love the collective embodiment, the statements, and the awareness that we bring forth individually and collectively. I love how you show up. I love how you be. I love your family. I love knowing you. I'm honored. And as a woman of color, I'm proud to watch you be. Like there's a sister friend energy that comes out of me when I see you. And I'm just grateful. And I'm grateful that you've chosen me. I don't take it for granted that you've chosen for me to pour into your community. I don't ever take that for granted. My company is motivatingthemasses.com. And I'd love for you to go there, because if you go there and if you join, I want to give you, I did this piece on how to have an abundant mindset. And I'd love to give it to you, any of you, for free if you want, because I had to adopt an abundant mindset before I could do anything else in my life. And I kept thinking scarcity. I grew up in scarcity. I grew up in lack, and I didn't know about abundance. And so if it feels good to you and it feels like it's a win for you, then I'd love for you. You can go to motivatingthemasses.com/abundance now. And it's just a little gift there of motivatingthemasses.com/abundance now. And there's a little something that you can start some work on yourself. If this feels good to you, you can dive deeper into it.
Thank you for this gift. Thank you for being who you are. This was so good for me today. Thank you so much. Like, I just feel like everything is 10x'd today. You are a superhero. You are what the world needs right now. So grateful for you being alive and being on the planet at this time. And also the fact that you get to enjoy the life that you deserve. And seeing, oh my goodness, we're just getting warmed up.
Right, we're just getting started. We are just getting started. And can I just say, you said superhero at the beginning, and what I'm learning is that ordinary people choose to make extraordinary decisions.
That's right.
They choose to grab their superpower, own their superpower, share their superpower, and then they become superheroes. Like when I got that path, like ordinary people choosing to make some extraordinary decisions, to own their superpower, to share their superpower, become superheroes. And that makes it available to anybody and everybody.
That's it. Lisa Nichols, everybody. Thank you so much. Hey, if you like this video, make sure to check out this video right here to up-level your health today. Remove the cause of the disease. We have to remove the cause first. So what is contributing to the degradation of our microbiome? This dysfunction with our microbiome is driving the obesity epidemic.